This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order, and at this time, I would like to invite all of you to please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, this is my first meeting with my new tablet, so if I'm looking like I'm in a daze, which maybe I do anyway, it's because I'm trying to manipulate this thing here. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held February 10th, 2015, and the special city council meeting held on February 19th, 2015. Is there anyone in the council or anyone in the audience that wants to make any corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of those two meetings without any changes. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion is carried. The consent agenda is before the council, and all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there anyone in the council or any member of the audience that wishes to either add or remove an item from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I have item 6I to move to the regular agenda.
Okay, any other items? Bruce?
Mayor, I'd like to add 10A to the consent agenda.
Okay. I'm supposed to be able to add that on here with this little thing, right? 10A, you'll remember to tell me, right? Okay,
So if you get in trouble, just ask me, I got a tablet here too.
all right.
Don't give them any more power.
I thought I'd go paperless the first night. Anyway, any other items on the consent agenda that need to be added or removed? Okay, so we're going to remove 6I and we're going to add 10A. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the consent agenda with those two changes. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. At this time, Pam Mortensen would like to appear before the city council to present a proclamation for the GAR Park and for the mayor to sign and to give a check also to the city for the project. Pam?
Thank you. I'm Pam Mortensen, and my husband Tom and I have adopted the rededication of Gar Park, which is the Grand Army of the Republic Park, that little itty bitty park up at the end of Washington Avenue. And first of all, let me say, he said you were giving me a proclamation, Mayor. Tom told me so.
That I would do that?
He said you were going to be doing it.
I would be
so-
glad to do that, Pam, but
Okay.
I haven't prepared one yet, but
Well,
I would
that's
do
okay.
that. I-
15 dedication.
Pardon?
You can do
Okay,
that.
yeah.
I've handed out a packet to everybody, and it's primarily, I've met with the Public Works, and I've met with the Park Board, and explained what we're doing. This is just kind of an overview of what we've done, and it's moving along really good. I got my costume yesterday in the mail, and I got the Heart of Tom's, so we're moving along. The monument has been ordered. That's going to be covering the time capsule, and it's at Nest Granite Works, and they have volunteered to give us a donation of that. The time capsule that we're going to be putting things in is in the mail someplace. We don't know where it is, but it's on its way. We have gone through, the sign has been started. This is the sign. It will be smaller than the other park signs, probably because the park is too small. It wouldn't look good with a great big sign. And that's in the works. On page 13, there's a picture of the marker that we're going to be using. And Ness, when we went out there to discuss it with them, they said it doesn't look good this way, so they're going to be putting it up and down this way. So that's the only change with that. And as far as the city, they were going to be doing the trees. Okay, and, I'm still working on seeing if I can get somebody or some group in town to donate the lilac bushes. That's just a little thing that we're doing because of the fact that, lilac bushes or the lilac flowers were in Abraham Lincoln's memorial train because the odor of the dead body was too bad. So that's one reason why they've started using flowers at funerals. And so I'm still working on the lilac bushes. And we will be having the reception afterwards, following the ceremony at the Oddfellows Park, or the Oddfellows Hall, which is right across from City Hall. It is upstairs, but there is, and like a chair that goes up, so we don't have to worry about the handicap. They can make it upstairs. One of the things too, I forgot the flag. It's sitting at my dining room table, so I will bring it back. We have got a flag that will be flying, I guess, in the city for March through April or something. And then we will also be using this 35-star flag on the day of the rededication. And this 35-star flag is presented to the city of Detroit Lakes to be flown over the Grand Army of the Republic as a reminder to all that see our nation's colors of the sacrifice that claimed over 620,000 soldiers from both the North and the South in this war to end slavery and to preserve the Union. This is the flag that flew over our nation at the end of the Civil War and at the time of Abraham Lincoln's death. It's not the real one, it's a replica, it's the 35-star flag. It is with great respect for what these men and women gave to our nation and those who served in the Grand Army of the Republic that they gave to our community, and that the Mortensen and the Alvarez families hereby present, I will be presenting the flag to the city of Detroit Lakes. May it fly free and remind us that our government is of and by the people. I also have a check here that I would like to present to the city.
Here, you want to come forward and put that
This is just a replica. I have the real one with me. And this is just from the Mortensen family and the Alvarez family for the city, and that's to go toward the expense of the signs and things like that.
Yeah, do it. You're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is my husband, Tom, the Colonel, and I, together with the rest of our family, both here in Minnesota and in Florida, hereby present the city of Detroit Lakes with the check paid to the city sign and related improvements to the Grand Army of the Republic Park. We offer this check in honor of the members of the Grand Army of the Republic who were willing to die for our nation, built our community, and made a lasting contribution to our history. In addition, we offer this check to inspire others to contribute to the history of our community and to help preserve and improve our parks, not only for those of us living today, but for future generations as well. And thank you for letting us be part of this historic event. And there was also, I think it's the last page of your packet. If anybody has any questions, I know most of them have been pretty much, you know.
Pam, I have a question. Didn't you say that Detroit Lakes is one of like only 5 or 6 cities in the United States that has a Civil War park now?
Well, they say, some historic groups are saying that there's only 5. We can only find 3. There's one in California, there's ours, and they don't have much information on the park here at all. There's also another one on the campus of the University of Madison in Wisconsin, and I think there's one in New York someplace. Somebody mentioned there may be one in California, but they can't find them. So it's really, you know, it's interesting, you know, that this little town has this park, and not too many people know about it. Even the historical groups and everything. I was talking to Amy at the museum. She said they have just a little bit of information on the park here. They did have a lodge which was burned down, and that's about it. They don't have much information on it.
Other questions for Pam? Pam, thank you so much for the
Thank you.
donation and for putting this together and for your community service, and we'll see you on April 15th, right?
Yes,
At 1
we
o'clock.
will be sending out invitations to everybody.
Okay.
And like I said, it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday, but it's not going to take very long. And we are having a reception following.
All right, thanks again, Pam. Without objection by the council, I would like to move up the Finance Committee agenda, and I would call on Jamie for the Finance Committee agenda.
There are 3 items on our agenda that relate to the proposed sale of bonds, and I will call on City Finance Officer Pam Slivka, as well as her guest, Terry Keaton, our financial advisor with Springstead Inc., to explain that to us.
Thanks, Jamie. The city is anticipating the sale of about $10 million in bonds on the 18th, which is next week. And there will be 3 different bonds. 2 will be refundings of existing bonds, and 1 will be an additional bond to cover the construction projects that will be constructed this year. So I'll turn it over to Terry, and she can explain the parameters resolutions to you that we're asking the council to approve.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Previously, the City Council was asked to authorize proceeding with these 3 bond issues that Ms. Slivka mentioned earlier. And at this point, we are scheduling that sale for March 18th at 10 a.m. in our offices. And that's when we would receive bids on all 3 issues. The new money, the dollar amount is $4,850,000, and that is to pay for infrastructure throughout the city. And it's a 20-year bond. We're estimating an interest rate of about 2.9%, and those bonds would be repaid from assessments, utility revenues, and part from the levy. The 2 refunding issues, $2,405,000 will be used to repay the 2006 A bonds that are already outstanding for the purpose of interest savings. We estimate about $140,000 present value savings, and savings as a percentage of the refunded debt at 5.1%. The minimum is 3%, so this is a very strong refunding. And the interest rate on that is estimated to be about 1.99% for the remaining 12 years. And then the third issue, the 2015 C, originally be used to repay the 2005 A bonds. The present value savings on that are estimated to be about $190,000. Present value savings as a percentage of the refunded debt is at 7.5, and again, very strong refunding compared to the 3%. And that interest rate is estimated to be about 1.91%. And that's a 10-year term. We are looking at record interest rates in this period. And so that's what you're hearing in some of the rates that I mentioned, and those are our forecasts. And of course, the actual rates will be bid on the date of sale on March 18th. There are 3 parameter resolutions that the City Council is asked to authorize this evening. And what those parameters resolutions do is they authorize awarding a bond sale, awarding the bonds to the low bid on that date of sale. And how that would be achieved is we would receive the bids in Springstead's offices at 10 a.m. We would meet with a pricing committee. The pricing committee would affirm or approve or deny the sale, and we would get back to the investor right away. And there's a parameters resolution, and part of why we're doing the parameters resolution rather than selling bonds that morning and then coming to the whole City Council is, first of all, the City Council meets once a month, which makes it really hard. You have to get back to the investor within 24 hours So it's a little hard for scheduling. Secondly, rates are so great that this will help expedite the sale and try to capture the lower rates. The parameters resolutions say that all 3 bond issues can be sold if they have certain parameters, guidelines. For all 3 issues, the bonds would have to be sold within 180 days from today. We're actually hoping to do it a week and a half, but that's an allowance for a hiccup. On the new money issue, we are estimating again 1.99% is the interest rate. This says you can go ahead and sell these bonds if the maximum doesn't exceed $5 million. We're below that. Interest rate of 4%. And this can be approved by a pricing committee. The pricing committee would be given that authority to award the bonds, and it would be comprised of the mayor, the city administrator, and the city finance director. The second bond issue they could also award, and that would have a limit of $2.5 million. It's currently at $2.4 million. It gives a little room, and the refunding has to achieve, so that savings will be at least 3% of the refunded debt. As I mentioned earlier, in that case, it's at 5.1% now, so that's achievable. And again, if interest rates move, that's why that would move around. And in the case of 2015C, again, that amount, it was at $2,385,000. It's capped at 2.5 also, and has the same parameter that savings would have to exceed at least 3%. And by the way, 3% is also state law, and that's where that came from. So with that, the pricing committee would be given your authority to go ahead and award to the low bid on the date of sale. And along with that, there is a credit rating that the city would place on these bonds to help with their marketability. The city is already in the AA category, a AA minus, which is a very strong rating. And had the rating call today, which went very well. And we should hear about the credit rating that is Friday.
Are there questions from the council for Terry or anyone in the audience? Okay. Jamie?
Oh, sorry. With the refinance,
sorry.
there's a savings of $320,000, you thought, between the two? Wonderful. Thank you.
Other questions? Okay.
Alrighty, so we have 3 resolutions. We'll take them one by one. The first is consideration to the approval of a parameters resolution regarding the sale of, whoops, sorry.
That's right.
Hang on. Okay, consideration to the approval of a parameters resolution regarding the sale of Series 2015A new bonds for construction projects including Highway 10 West, Washington Avenue, Peter Street, and Dan Street. The committee recommends approval of the resolution, which is in your packets, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving a parameters resolution regarding the sale of Series 2015A new bonds for construction projects as outlined in the resolution in your packet. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Second resolution is consideration of the approval of a parameters resolution regarding the refunding of Series 2005A bonds with Series 2015C bonds. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a parameters resolution regarding the refunding of Series 2005A bonds with Series 2015C bonds. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Okay, final motion is consideration to the approval of a parameters resolution regarding the refunding of Series 2006A bonds with Series 2015B bonds. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve a parameters resolution regarding the refunding of Series 2006A bonds with Series 2015B bonds. Discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much, and thank you for moving me up on the agenda.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody that says it's 320,000 gets,
right, item 7A on the Finance Committee agenda is approval of the 2015-2016 Detroit Mountain Recreation Area fee schedule. I would call on Jeff Staley, the general manager out at DMRA, to give us a little update on their season, as well as perhaps go over the rate schedule briefly.
Thank you. Well, first, thanks to the city and the community and surrounding communities around us for the support that's been shown through the whole planning process and discovery phase and now through operation. I think we see it's a great success, and collectively we should be proud of that. So applause deserved for all of us here. A little recap of the season. Monday marked our 75th day of operation, beginning back the day after Thanksgiving, and in that 75 days we have seen just over 41,000 visits, about 75% of those skiers and snowboarders, about 25% in tubing. Also in that 75 days of operation, and I say 75 days of operation, those are our true skiing days. There's certainly work being done outside of those days. We've had 156 people employed for a total of 32,200 labor hours, or about $370,000 of payroll. So that is something to be proud of too, and adding that employment to our area. Over the course of that 70, or over the course of the period from Thanksgiving until now, we had a couple closure days due to extreme negative temperatures, and now on Thursday we will have one day closed due to excessively warm temperatures. So we run the gamut, but that 41,000 visits is about 38% over our projected count of 30,000. So even though it appears that our season is going to be cut short by about a week or so, we have surpassed our total visits there. So again, just a testament to the success. Our busiest day out there was 1,625 visits, and in fact we had 3 days where we saw over 1,600 visits, and have a dozen that were over 1,000 visits. So anybody that's been over there saw lots of activity on the slope out there. We've hosted over 2,000 kids from area schools, ranging from 4th grade up through 12. So we're introducing lots of new skiers and boarders to the sport out there. And again, we're coming up on our final weekend here. This weekend, it looks like, with the weather temps, and we've got a couple activities planned, a rail jam competition in our Shields Terrain Park, and then a pond skim on Sunday, where skiers and boarders attempt to cross a stretch of water, and in costume or not, so that's always a fun activity and a good way to end the season. So, and then after the season, and after we get through the mud season, we'll start work on our mountain bike trails, and hopefully open up our trail system that we built this past summer, and by Memorial Day weekend, and then our gravity downhill trails by the 4th of July weekend. So even though the ski season's coming to a close, we're jumping right into the next activity. So I guess with that, that's a real brief recap of the season. Welcome any questions, otherwise I can move into our proposed rates.
Any questions for Bruce? Go ahead.
Well, Jeff, first of all, I mean, everybody I've talked to, great experience when they've been out there, so you guys have done a fantastic job on putting it together. I get up in Fargo quite a bit, and there's a lot of Fargo people know that we're over to the Fargo Moore people. And so you exceeded your visits, which is good. And without getting real specific on the finances, are you meeting your financial projections? Are those going to come in about where you expected?
Yeah, absolutely. We are exceeding on all counts related to that, so.
Other questions for Jeff? Anyone in the audience that has any questions for Jeff? If not, Jeff, if you want to get into the rate thing, go ahead.
Sure. Our board is recommending that we hold our daily ticket prices to the current pricing, so there will be no increase in price there. We are proposing some rate adjustments for our season pass holders, and those numbers have been presented to the Finance Committee, and range in price from a 7% increase to a 14% increase for a family season pass package. Our goal was to keep that family of 4 under $1,000, and we have done that. We are proposing a little bit larger increase to our corporate pass, which is transferable, includes full use of skiing, as well as discounts on rentals and tubing, so that sees about a 25% increase, and then some moderate increases in some of our non-school group rate structures, so that would be anybody that collectively puts a group of 20 or more together.
Okay, any questions on the rates? As Jeff mentioned, the Finance Committee did go through these in a little more detail this afternoon. Any questions? If not, I just want to echo what Bruce says is, all I've heard is nothing but positive feedback, Jeff. So good job out there, and look forward to seeing how things go this summer with the mountain biking as well. So thank you. Yep.
Hope you're out there on a mountain bike as much as skis.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Are you going to pond skim on Sunday?
You know what? Do you think you're really going to be able to have that?
Absolutely.
Do you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no question that will go on.
I'm putting my shorts on and I'm coming out.
Got a camera.
All right. Jamie?
I so move for the approval of the rate schedule.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the proposed rate schedule for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area for next year's ski season. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Anything else, Jamie?
No, you're on.
Okay. Without objection, I think Pam came in with a flag, but maybe she left again.
She left
Oh.
me with it.
Carrie, you've got the flag.
I'm supposed to give it to Brett.
Okay.
In his hand.
And that's the flag that Pam was telling us about, so, okay, very good. Thank you. Without objection, I would ask if we could move to item 6I, I think it was, Ron.
Yes, 6I, and that's consideration to request by Tim Hoverson to hold a wedding ceremony at the City Beach by the Armory at 1220 Rossman Avenue on June 6, 2015. They were here last month, and at that time, they were proposing a wedding of about a size of about 300 or so. And now they've come back this month, and the wedding size is down to about 175. The committee's reviewed this and asked quite a few questions on it, and it's going to take place for 1 hour from 5:30 to 6:30 on that June 6th date. And it looks like we've got things worked out so we could have this wedding down there. We don't want to rain on anybody's wedding, so we're going to allow them for that 5:30 to 6:30 range. They're going to take care of all the cleanup and so forth down there, and so the committee recommends that we would go ahead and allow this event for the wedding to take place on that date. And I so move.
I'd second that.
Okay, there's a motion that's been made and seconded to allow a wedding ceremony to be held on the beach, and it's for about an hour
About an
on
hour, 5:30 to 6:30 on June 6th.
June 6th. And do Do you have anything you want to add, sir, to the,
No, that pretty much summed it up what we
Okay.
talked about yesterday, so.
okay, very good.
I just had one.
Yep, go ahead, Marty.
I just wanted to make sure that we talked to, there wouldn't be any cordoning off of the area, and there wouldn't be any private reserving of the area, but we're hoping that people would honor their request to be there.
Bruce?
Yeah, and Tim, just to clarify a couple things we did talk about. So you were going to be a little further west of the boat launch. So if you have the ceremony, we're not worried about the boat people come. Okay, that was one thing. And then you were going to try to have somebody maybe with a vest or something just to escort folks across the street.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
And parking.
So we said no liquor on the beach during that time, and then also trying to keep it to an hour, so.
Well, yeah, you want to get done with the wedding, so you have some fun, right? Other questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion's carried. Is there anyone else?
Good luck.
Good luck. Oh, is it Kevin Tingen is here, and what item is that?
F on it, 6F.
6F. If, without objection, we go to 6F.
Okay, it's consideration authorizing the issuance of a dock license for 2015. I think we've got two dock requests. I think we'll do individually. The first one is for Bonnie Helm for a private dock at 716 Westlake Drive. The committee reviewed this and we okayed it, and I so move.
That's been going on for years, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'd second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the dock license at 716 Westlake Drive for Bonnie Helm. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, the next request is for Boats Incorporated, doing business as J&K Marine for commercial dock license at 121 Westlake Drive. And there was some discussion about some special requests we had for J&K Marine as far as what we would like to have them to do on that. So Kevin's here, I see, so that's good. So Bruce, you had some concerns?
Sure. Kevin, my big concern is, and I know we've talked to you about it, and I'm sure that, you're probably okay with our request, but I would guess that the guys that work down there don't always follow through with, the things. And so the big issue that I have is particularly in April and May and September and October. I mean, all the time, but particularly what happens is I'm driving in there and I can be driving home at 8 o'clock at night and driving back in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the vehicles are parked like right on the beach, right there. Typically overnight, I guess after they've done taking, either they're putting the docks in the spring or taking them out in the fall, and I understand they're driving up and down the beach and doing that stuff. That's not the issue here. But then at night, I would expect there's nobody, this is on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday night, so there certainly isn't any reason why they can't be parking along the street overnight. There's plenty of parking there. Again, I guess I would just ask that your guys recognize that they should not be parking on the beach overnight. During the summertime, I realize it's a little tougher probably to find some parking spots there. I think the issue that some of us in the committee had was probably the issue of, knowing you need, at least one vehicle, you probably need to maybe park it overnight occasionally, or if there's something going on a Saturday night, but not 3 vehicles, that type of thing.
Yeah, I've gotten your letters before, we've discussed that, and, I would hope that for the most part, we were up on the streets when I went by, but I can make sure to reiterate that to them.
Well,
Especially during that time, when they should be able to move it, there's no traffic.
I didn't make a big issue because it happened, I know I've been talking about this for a while, but literally there was one week in October, every day I drove by, there was at least one truck on the beach. And I took pictures. Problem is I can't locate where the pictures are.
I believe, if it does happen in the future, I invite you to just call me too.
All right. Appreciate
the days
that.
I don't go by there, so if it's happening and they're not getting told about it, then they'll keep doing it. But they've all been told about it. They've had the letters,
Okay.
In the summer, there's times like you said, hopefully you overlook one here and there, because when there's weddings going on or something, there's traffic, it's all parked.
Yep.
When they leave work and they end up leaving one on the beach, but, and the boats we try to take, we have storage facilities a mile down the road there, we try to pull stuff out of there and get it out of there, so we're not blocking the use of the beach to the public, so.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions for Kevin? Okay.
I think the park crew had a request, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, and Kevin's good about it, and part of it is then we usually have to contact Kevin directly. It's the big trailers, when we do have a wedding and different things, we have the wider bulk trailers for the big pontoons. And where we get complaints is sometimes with the wedding parties there. And we got to track, usually Kevin down our staff to get them to move and open that up on the road. And I talked to him about that when I called him the other day.
And I'll reiterate it to him, I mean, as far as our work trailers and stuff like that, they should move that. I mean, and I hope it's all right in the fall that our barge is sitting on the boulevard or something like that at night when we're not working, rather than having to move it. But during the summer, I mean, if we need reminding, let us know. They should be moving that stuff. Occasionally, there'll be a boat, the trailers that are hooked up to a vehicle that's leaving in the morning for rental or something that might happen a little bit more often, but.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're having good communication and everybody's on the same page, so. Further questions or discussion?
Just, it's a part of DL.
Yeah.
It's part of stuff happening in Detroit Lakes, and we want it.
And we want to make it look nice too. I mean, I realize that we have something to do with that as well. I mean, keeping the image up down there, so. Any one of you guys ever has a concern, feel free to just call me and I'll get on them, get it cleaned up, because they don't always look at it from the same point of view as we do.
Well, we appreciate that, Kevin, thank you. Further questions or discussion? We didn't get a motion yet, did we?
No, and with the discussion then, and I think Kevin knows where we're at because it is a public beach, and the request that we have, the committee recommends that we go ahead and approve the commercial dock license for this coming season at 121 Westlake Drive, J&K Marina, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the commercial dock license for J&K Marine for the marina at 121 Westlake Drive. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Thanks again for coming in, Kevin, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that has an item they'd like to adjust? Doesn't look like it. Okay. We will get back to, I'm drawing lines on my paper here. We were at the Community Development, back to the Community Development Committee. Bruce?
Thank you, Your Honor. The consideration to a resolution support for a grant application for local trails connection grant. I'll make the motion to approve this and I'll explain a little bit, so I so move.
Okay, is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution supporting the grant application to the Minnesota Department of Resources for the Local Trail Connections Program. Bruce?
So in the past, Larry's been writing a grant from basically Lincoln Avenue down across Langford over to the pavilion. Some of us on the committee didn't particularly like that. He's now revised this grant to go from Langford, which is right there by Sanford, for those of you that know where Langford is, and now we'll go through the park into the pavilion. The discussion was centered with council people that were there and the staff as to whether this would affect their ability to get future grants particularly if we're dealing with Highway 34. Nobody really knows for sure. Larry's got the grant ready to go. I guess the committee felt like, why not submit it and see what happens? So that's what we're recommending that we move forward.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there further questions or discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried.
Just 2 items of information, Your Honor. From now on, all council members should be getting the full Planning Commission packet to your tablets or however you're getting them, so be aware of that. And then I would encourage you, I believe it's March 26th, Madeline.
That's correct.
Is the Planning Commission. I'm sure the South Washington project will be on that Planning Commission agenda again, so we would encourage you to attend that if you can. We had a real good turnout of council members at the last one.
What time is that at, Bruce?
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, okay.
Thank you, Bruce.
That's all.
Okay, thanks. We'll go back now to the Public Works Committee. Ron?
Okay, item 6A is, that is going to be tabled for next month. That's about having a Bible reading marathon in the city park, and we needed more information. And the gentleman was here tonight, and I said we're going to do it next month, and we just need more information, so we're going to table that for next month. We'll move to item 6B. Consideration of the request from the DLCCC to conduct the 20th annual Dick Beardsley Run and to close various streets on Saturday, September 12, 2015 in downtown Detroit Lakes in the city park and at the pavilion. Mark with Go Fargo events will be at the Public Works Committee to discuss it. He was here from Fargo, and they're going to kind of pretty much revamp the race the way it has been, and we're going to use new and different streets, and hopefully make it an even better event. It's going to be not only a half marathon, but it's going to be a full marathon, so they're expecting to draw more people in, and his request was mainly for changing of the routes and so forth. Anything you want to add to that, Brad?
Yeah, and be sure to strike it's not the DLCCC requesting it, it's
School
Go
Far
Far
Events.
Events.
Okay. All right.
It's a typo.
All right.
For the minutes, we should make sure it's Go Far Events.
And so the committee reviewed his request that he needs to make this a success, that it has to be, and I would so move.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the request from Go Far Events to conduct the 20th annual Dick Beardsley Marathon and Run here in Detroit Lakes on September 12th, 2015. Discussion on the motion. Bruce?
Yeah, I just want to put a plug in for those that don't know Mark Knudsen. Mark is a guy that started and runs the Fargo Marathon, so he does a fantastic job. I think he's going to take this to the next level. One of the things that we want to get out there to the public is he hires nonprofit groups to help volunteer and work the event, and then pays them some dollars. And I'm sure the chamber would probably have the contact information if there's any nonprofit groups out there, Boy Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, athletic teams, whatever, that might want to do that. I'd encourage them to.
Yeah, and Mark has also told me and stated publicly that they fully intend to keep the Beardsley Marathon here in Detroit Lakes. So
I would just echo what Bruce said. I mean, he is just amazing what he's done in Fargo.
Yeah,
and if you can bring that here.
Did we vote?
Not
Nope.
yet.
Did we have a motion?
Yep.
Yeah, motion second.
That's one thing this tablet can't do. I can, okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, next item is item C.
Jenny's got your comment.
Consideration to the request submitted by Anytime Fitness to conduct a free Saturday boot camp classes in the city park from May 2nd to 30th, 2015. They went over all the events, and the committee thought there's another great idea, and I would so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the request submitted by Anytime Fitness to conduct free Saturday boot camp classes in the city park and beach, May 2nd through 30th, 2015. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Next item is D, where it's consideration of the request submitted by the DL Regional Chamber of Commerce to conduct the annual Cruise DL Night on the second Wednesday of each month, starting May through September 2015 for the summer. And there's letters in your packet about it. And Carrie's here tonight, she could explain it, but basically what they're looking at is to completely close off Westlake Drive for this event because they're getting so many requests. And Carrie, do you want to come and comment on that? And it's, they're requesting that it be closed from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock to get all the cars set up.
And just from Blake to Rossman.
Yeah, Blake to Rossman.
Carrie? Hi.
Hi, yeah, thank you. This will be the 5th year that we've done the cruise night. The last 4 years have been so successful. We've seen a lot of growth when the weather cooperates. Last year, I think we had snow in June, I swear. So we're really looking forward to a nice year this year. We have outgrown our space going to the one-way traffic. So our request is to do a completely closed-off street from Rossman Avenue to Lake Avenue. And we would still have the cars that are participating, the classics and those that are coming in. They would still enter through Rossman. We would direct them to a parking spot, and then they'd be able to exit out on Lake. But the public would not be able to use Westlake Drive during that time. Starting from 4 o'clock, the event ends at 8:30. We hope to get all those cars moved in and the roads open again by 9 o'clock.
So Carrie, Lake Avenue would still be open, right?
Lake
Okay.
Avenue.
Questions for Carrie about the new setup? Chief, any concerns you would have?
No.
Okay. Brad?
Good no.
Well, and Carrie mentioned that they've been having between 150 to 175 cars, and they've got more requests. They're looking at over 225 cars for this summer season, so it's going to be a bigger event, even more so now.
Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Okay, the committee recommends, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the I guess, the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce to conduct the annual Cruise DL Night on the second Wednesday of each month, May through September 2015. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, next item is E, consideration request submitted by Eric Nelson to conduct the Muscatell Ojibwe Forest Rally on August 29, 2015. Eric has been here before and has talked to us about the race, and what this is about tonight is that he has the race date, and it's going to be August 29, 2015, and he wants to reserve that date, and the committee thought that'd be a great date, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the request by Eric Nelson to conduct the Muscatell Ojibwe Forest Rally, again here in Detroit Lakes, and that'll be on our Westlake Drive, Rossman Avenue, North Shore Drive, correct?
That's correct, and this race is so important to this Subaru Racing that in order for them to get all their qualifying points, they have to attend this race in Detroit Lakes, so they want to be in for qualifications to win the big prize at the end of the year. So it's going to bring a lot of racers into town.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Again, Chief, any concerns? I know we talked about this a lot last year, and I actually went down and watched it, and those cars are going really fast, and I just hope that the safety planning on the curves and stuff meets your...
It does.
You're
And,
okay.
Eric was gonna be here tonight, but he had a daughter that got sick, and so he couldn't be here to answer some of those questions. But in the safety plan, you'll see that the organizers have actually slowed it down a little bit. They've made a couple of funnels that the cars will be having to slow down before they hit the Washington Avenue curve there. And, so I was comfortable with it last year. I held my breath just like you did too, but it went off well, and they're very into the safety aspect, making it even more safe this year, so.
Okay, good to hear. I know it's a popular deal, so that part of it is great. Okay, further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Next item is item G, consideration of the approval agreement for the revision of a summer recreational program between the City of Detroit Lakes and the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center. They've got a great lineup for this summer once again. Many items for the young people in the Detroit Lakes who during the summer months, and the committee recommends, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the agreement for the provision of summer recreational programs between the City of Detroit Lakes and the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center. Discussion on the motion. Again, another great thing for Detroit Lakes. It's been there for a long time and has served many kids, and we're really glad we can continue to do that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
The last item is item H, and we're going to table this until next month to get more information and to contact the homeowner on the property with item H, so we'll pull that until next month.
Okay. Without objection, can we just call, John is here, can we just call on our city engineer just to give us a brief update on, as we move closer to this Washington Avenue project, kind of how things are shaping up? And the weather's got to be a positive thing, right?
Weather is good, Mayor. If you drove downtown, you probably see a couple of track hose sitting there, and Celine Brothers is starting to mobilize their equipment in to beat the load restrictions that are going to go on here on highways and roads here starting at the end of this week. So we're in the process of still working through the contract award with them. We've got the documents back. I plan to get them back down to City Hall for signatures this week. On March 23rd, we will be having the pre-construction meeting, sitting down with the contractor and all the various interested parties, utility companies, subcontractors, and so forth, and going through the project. And following that, I believe it's on the 24th. Carrie, is that right? Yes, 24th, we'll be having a business owners and public informational meeting at La Barista at 9 a.m., I believe. And the contractor will be there, be able to talk in a little bit more detail about how the project's going to unfold, what their intended schedule is and plan, when they plan to start, things like that. So good weather is certainly going to help us out, and hopefully that gives us a better shot of being out of there by the 4th of July.
That meeting was what date?
March 24th at La Barista. So encourage anybody to come that's got an interest in the project.
Okay, questions for John or questions for Carrie about anything regarding what's happening with the downtown people? Okay. Thanks, John. Anything else, Ron?
No, that'll be all, Your Honor.
Okay, so now we're on to the Public Safety Committee. Marty, do you have anything on the agenda?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of points of information. The chief was able to sell several of our radios that are now unable to be used with the upgrade of the system, and so we were able to get rid of some of that older equipment for some other departments. If all things go well, we may be introducing a new officer next month, possibly. And then I'd just like to tell everybody, there's a new program out. I talked to Sergeant Strand yesterday about his new program. He is putting sessions for coffee with a cop, and he's encouraging business owners or other places to have a gathering where officers will be able to come and answer questions and explain some of the things that the police department does every day that people maybe don't realize or don't have a great understanding of. The police department responded to 793 incidents last month, and the volunteer fire department 11. That's all, Your Honor.
Great, thanks, Marty. Anything on the liquor and gambling control, Dan?
I just want to mention, Your Honor, that sales are up so far in the first 2 months of the year, 7.5%, which is an additional $50,000 to the city of Detroit Lakes, and I want to compliment the staff on doing a good job with that, so thank you.
Good job, Randy, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. Bruce, do you have any items in the public that you'd like to bring from the public? I see here that Mitch Wimmer, it's noted that Mitch Wimmer completed 9 years of service on the PUC, and I think Vice Mayor Zeman stopped in to congratulate him, and so we want to say thank you to Mitch for his good service for 9 years. The Becker County Assessor has notified the city the Board of Review for the 2015 assessments will be held in the Becker County Courthouse on April 30th, starting at 9:30, and we need to appoint a Board of Equalization, and we've typically appointed the Finance Committee. And is there members of the Finance Committee that would have a difficult time being at this Board of Review? And who's on the Finance Committee again?
Excuse me, can I just, maybe I missed it, but I thought we made a motion when you were gone last month to appoint the Finance Committee with Ron Zeman.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm covering ground I don't need to cover?
You got it.
All right, well, I retract my statements. We do need to appoint a member of the council to the Development Authority to replace G.L. Tucker, and I would like to recommend to the council the name of Ron Zeman to be on the Development Authority.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Ron Zeman to the Development Authority to fill G.L. Tucker's spot. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. A few informational items. The Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce will be hosting our second quarterly joint governance meeting. That's the city, county, school, college, chamber. And that's scheduled for April 7th at M State at 7 a.m. And that's the same day as our council meeting, is that correct?
No.
Oh, we changed it, we're gonna have it the first Tuesday, right?
Right.
Okay. So it'll be the first Tuesday next month at M State. And we talked about the Board of Equalization, and we talked about Mr. Huverson. Is there any other items that any member of the city staff has to bring before the council this evening? No more? Okay, Bruce, anything to add? Madeline?
Nothing, Your Honor.
David?
Nothing, sir.
No, Your Honor.
No, sir.
I forgot to mention one thing with the liquor store, Randy. We're doing daily tastings now, right, of one product. So if people are interested in trying something new, that they can stop by and take a sample. So
And their horizons.
exactly. Thank you. Or taste buds, yeah.
Jay?
How long can you stay for the sample?
There is a limit.
I already asked that. The limit, yeah. Barb, anything else tonight? Jamie? The business of this council has come to a conclusion and the meeting is adjourned.